Welcome back to the Kit Locker. My name is Jason Blackiston. Up until now, we've mainly focused on personal items, the weapons, clothing and equipment used by the UK Special Forces and police counter-terrorist teams. But today, we're taking a slight departure from that. Instead of looking at what the individuals carried, we're looking at what carried them. We're diving into one of the most iconic and often overlooked pieces of kit associated with the Special Air Service, the Range Rover. Not the luxury SUV we think of today, but a rugged, discreet and heavily modified tool of the trade, used in some of the most sensitive counter-terrorism operations of the modern era. When the Range Rover was launched in 1970, it was marketed as a capable, comfortable vehicle, a practical blend of utility and refinement, designed to sit between the rugged Land Rover and a traditional estate car. It quickly found favour across a wide cross-section of British life, from country estates to city streets. But beyond the public eye, the Range Rover was also quietly adopted by one of Britain's elite military units, the Special Air Service. During the early 1970s, the SAS formed its dedicated counter-revolutionary warfare wing, a unit focused on counter-terrorism operations, both in the UK and abroad. As part of this effort, a small number of Range Rovers were purchased. These early vehicles, initially standard two-door models, were chosen for their combination of speed, off-road capability and relatively discreet appearance. The Range Rover offered a number of technical advantages over other vehicles available at the time. It featured coil-sprung suspension, permanent four-wheel drive, four-wheel disc brakes, a central lock-in differential and a powerful V8 engine, initially producing 127 horsepower, with more powerful versions appearing over time. Its large interior allowed up to 5 soldiers to travel with equipment, while the drop-down tailgate made access to the rear load space simple and quick, ideal for rapid deployment. Perhaps just as importantly, the Range Rover's civilian styling allowed it to blend into everyday traffic, particularly useful during surveillance work or low-profile movement in urban environments. From the mid-1980s onwards, 22 SAS acquired a larger number of Range Rovers, now favouring the four-door variant. These vehicles were adapted by Rover's own Special Vehicle Division, as well as independent specialists, to meet the demands of special operations work. Modifications varied, but typically included reinforced suspension and chassis upgrade to handle rough terrain and heavy loads, run flat tyres and improved drivetrains for greater reliability, hidden armour plating and bullet-resistant glass in selected vehicles, internal roll cages for occupant protection in the event of a crash. Inside, vehicles were fitted with secure weapons lockers, discrete communications equipment and dashboard provisions for radios and control panels. Additional features included map lights, flashing headlamps, sirens and switches to disable brake lights and indicators for low visibility movement. Infrared headlamps were also installed, allowing the vehicles to operate under night vision without revealing their position. These vehicles were used in a variety of roles, from transport and overwatch to direct action. In some configurations, Range Rovers were fitted with external assault platforms mounted on the roof and the bonnet, along with attached ladders. These allowed troopers to ride on the outside of the vehicle and quickly reach upper floor entry points such as windows, balconies or even aircraft doors. Some versions featured detachable side steps or foot rails, giving operators the ability to mount or dismount while the vehicle was still in motion. When needed, the vehicles could be airlifted in a C-130 Hercules or Chinook helicopter, allowing them to be deployed rapidly, often with very little notice. The SAS employed several different configurations of Range Rover. Team vehicles were used to transport assault teams and snipers. A separate command and control vehicle was used by the operation commander and fitted with additional communications equipment, allowing for real-time coordination on the ground. Each vehicle played a specific role, working in close conjunction during an operation, whether it was a training exercise, a surveillance tasking, or a live counter-terrorist response. By the mid-1990s, Land Rover released a new second-generation Range Rover, known as the P38A, This version leaned more heavily towards luxury and comfort, and the SAS judged it less suitable for covert or operational roles. Before production of the original model ended, the regiment is believed to have secured a final batch for ongoing use. Thereafter, attention shifted to the Land Rover Discovery. Mechanically similar in many respects, the Discovery shared the off-road capability and internal space of the Range Rover, but had a lower profile and was more common on British roads, making it a practical alternative for discreet movement. While little detailed information is available about SAS modified Discoveries, it is reasonable to assume that many of the enhancements applied to Range Rovers were continued in some form. The Range Rovers service was not confined to one regiment or one role. Because it combined cross-country mobility with familiar civilian silhouette, it found a wide range of uses across the British military, diplomatic and policing work, from Cold War liaison to peacekeeping and domestic policing. During the Cold War, British liaison missions operating in Germany required vehicles that were dependable, comfortable, for long miles and unobtrusive. Range Rovers frequently filled that niche. Missions such as Brixmis, the British Commanders-in-Chief mission to Soviet forces in Germany, relied on mobile teams to observe, to meet counterparts, and to travel long distances, often across difficult roads. The Range Rover's mix of speed, load space, and cross-country ability made it a sensible choice for those tasks, where an overtly military vehicle might have been less practical. In expeditionary operations and peacekeeping deployments, the Balkans being a well-known example, Range Rovers were used for liaison, patrols and staff transport. Their capacity to carry personnel and kit while remaining nimble on poor or semi-urban roads suited tasks such as observation patrols, escorted liaison between headquarters and forward units, and the movement of officers and civilian officials. In contested environments or fragile security situations, suitably modified examples were used where protection and extra communications were required. At home, the Range Rover and other Land Rover derivatives have long been part of police and security fleets, especially in rural or semi-rural policing. Their advantages are straightforward: good off-road ability for moorland and country lanes, high load capacity for equipment, and a civilian appearance that can be helpful for both community policing and discreet operations. Specialist police units, armed response teams and counter-terror units, and covert surveillance teams have also made use of SUVs for transport and covert movement. In those roles, vehicles may be fitted with specialist radios, temporary blue lights or sirens, and secure storage for firearms, enabling rapid response or discreet surveillance while remaining less conspicuous than overt patrol vehicles. For over 2 decades, the Range Rover served the SAS not as a luxury vehicle, but as a workhorse, capable, adaptable and discreet. From transporting operators across rough terrain to acting as mobile assault platform in some of the UK's most sensitive counter-terrorist missions, these vehicles played a critical role and did so largely without public recognition. They were, quite simply, tools of the trade. Thank you for watching the Kit Locker. If you have any further information or insights, please share them in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. Your support helps us continue creating content like this, so don't forget to like and subscribe. We look forward to you joining us again in our next video.